This is Face the Nation, broadcasting live from the CNN-IBN headquarters in New Delhi with Sagarika Ghose.
लोकपाल भी तो सशक्त जरूरी है, मगर सिर्फ एक कानून से हो जाएगा काम, ये तो मैं नहीं मानता हूँ। मेरा काम है आत्मीयता को जगाना और इसको राजनीतिक रंग देना मैं उचित नहीं समझता। जरूर मैं भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ बोलने वाला हूँ, मगर ये किसी एक पार्टी विशेष से जोड़ करके नहीं।
Hi there, good evening. Assembly elections are coming up in just a few months in Uttar Pradesh, and it seems as if all the action is in UP. After Team Anna member Arvind Kejriwal's public meetings in parts of UP, now Art of Living founder and spiritual guru Sri Sri Ravi Shankar is on a 4-day yatra in Uttar Pradesh. He's holding satsangs in the state where he's asking people to take a pledge to fight corruption. Interestingly, Sri Sri has skipped visiting Rahul Gandhi's constituency of Amethi for fear of opposition from local Congress outfits. Sri Sri says his campaign is totally apolitical, but is it so? Given the fact that Anna Hazare, who is a close associate of Sri Sri in the fight against corruption, has already said he will campaign against the Congress in UP if the Jan Lokpal bill is not passed in the winter session. So joining us tonight to ask if spiritual gurus should participate in anti-corruption campaigns is Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, spiritual leader and founder of the Art of Living Foundation. We're to be joined by Sharad Pradhan, senior journalist, in just a bit. Shekhar Singh, member of the National Campaign for People's Right to Information, or NCPRI, is joining us. Arun Bhatia, ex-IAS officer and president of the People's Guardian Party, is joining us. Sri Sri starts his UP Yatra. Should spiritual leaders stay away from anti-corruption campaigns? That's our debate. Let's turn it over to Sri Sri Ravi Shankar at the very outset. Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, are you effectively launching a political campaign? Team Anna member Arvind Kejriwal has been to UP. Anna Hazare himself has said he will launch an anti-Congress movement in UP if the Jan Lokpal bill is not passed. You, for example, haven't taken up an anti-graft campaign in your home state of Karnataka, but you have chosen UP to start an anti-corruption set of satsangs. Aren't you effectively playing a political role?
UP trip is happening very well, extremely well. Lakhs and lakhs of people are coming. People are coming from far away villages. In fact, for any political rally, you have to bring people, pay them money or bring them in trucks. Here, people are coming on their own. There is so much interest in people to come and sit in satsang, listen to satsang. My tours are always based on satsangs. It's nothing special. I've been doing this for the past 30 years. I've been touring different parts. I was in Bengal. Before that, I was in Gujarat. And then I was in Karnataka before that. I've been touring all these states. I don't understand why a political color need to be attached to this satsang. So if someone thinks just in 4 days I can make a political storm, I think they are mistaken. If I want to do only political canvassing, I would just jump in 100%. Go to every district, every village, take 4 months or 2 months, do intensive work. You know, I use my, this one. I'm not that stupid to just 4 days come and do a tour and vanish from the screen. My tour is based on purely spiritual and social upliftment, and everyone should be happy about that. It's apolitical. I tell you, I want to keep it apolitical. I have never allowed anybody to hijack my program, and I will not do that. Nor will I be swayed away by any other ideology than what I believe is true.
Let's put your views to Shekhar Singh. Shekhar Singh, you know, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, they're saying it's completely apolitical, and to be fair, he's not making any kind of political speeches. There's no party political statement that he's making at all in his satsangs. But on the other hand, you know, he has released Nitin Gadkari's book recently. He was also part of a Dharma Sansad on the Ram Janmabhoomi and in the past, and he has been identified with the Sangh Parivar. Now, the anti-corruption campaign so far has been identified by its critics perhaps as an anti anti-Congress movement. Do you see Sri Sri there, maybe not overtly playing a political role, but willy-nilly getting caught up in what is becoming a politicized campaign?
You see, I first of all think that it's the right of everybody in a democratic society to participate in the democratic process. So even if Sri Sri ji wanted to, for example, influence politics in Uttar Pradesh and use the clout that he has as a spiritual leader, I don't see any problem with it. I think anti-corruption is a very important issue, and the more people who take on to it and use whatever influence they have to raise the consciousness of voters, I think it's very good. I would have only hoped, and this is only a personal sort of hope from my side, that people came up with more concrete ways of focusing people's attention. So just to say, look, we must fight against corruption is good, but how does one actually transform it? Now here the problem comes. In India, I don't think there is a situation where one can clearly say that one particular party is corrupt and the other is not corrupt. So you cannot translate an anti-corruption movement into either an anti-BJP movement or an anti-Congress movement. So then you have to figure out how do you make yourself relevant, especially in a country where much of the politics is divided up between these major parties. And there you have to have some sort of a system by which you can look at the people who are standing for elections and say, look, this is the minimum basic criteria that you people must apply to each candidate. Never mind what party he or she is, because that way you will pressurize parties in the medium to long run to pick on candidates who get a clean chit from the anti-corruption perception, and this might actually change politics, which we desperately need in this country.
Arun Bhatia, how do you respond to that? That Sri Sri should come up with specific ways in which parties themselves can go in for internal cleansing and not simply spread awareness about corruption, because that, after all, is simply not going to go very far, and by its critics could be interpreted as simply a proxy political campaign. It would be much more productive to perhaps focus on the specifics.
Yes, I agree with this, that, anybody can enter politics and participate in politics. And whether Ravi Shankar has a political motive or not is, for me, really irrelevant. But what is really causing me a lot of concern, and a lot of other people causing them concern, is that, what Ravi Shankar is doing is trivializing corruption. He's going around and he's going to lead a yatra, and he's going to tell people, take a pledge, cut a cake, raise your right hand and say, I'm going to be a good boy from tomorrow. You're putting corruption totally out of perspective. Because the ramifications of this disease, the mafia behind it, how it's ruining our lives, our country, and the risk in fighting corruption is totally pushed into the dustbin. And here you find a simplistic, meaningless methodology of trying to fight this evil. I think he's doing a disservice to corruption, number one. Number two, does he have the guts? Take on corruption by the horns. Go and really do something. Help to create a deterrent in this country. Pull Bhatt's case out. Use your influence to protect whistleblowers. Pull Bhatt's case out from the rogue state. Bring it to Delhi. This DIG who's been put in the madhouse, fight for him. Go to the police stations. Lodge complaints. Put in PILs. Lead us. But don't tell us to go and tell people to be good boys. These people, first of all, it's irrelevant. It's trivializing corruption. It's not showing guts and courage. They will not take on the establishment because the government are too scared of taxation, the government getting after them and all that. And there are people who've lost their lives, there are people who've lost their careers, there are people who had a tough time fighting corruption. And here we find a so-called anti-corruption leader saying, I'm going to go and deliver pledges, promises, oaths. It's terrible.
Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, respond to that. Are you simply trivializing corruption? This is a very serious issue. There are very serious concerns here. Are you simply wading into this anti-corruption movement and taking away its seriousness?
I'm not here to comment what would become election plateau in the 2012. It's for politicians and the media to decide. But one thing I would say, every Swami and media are saints. They have to be very neutral. They should not side with anybody. They have to, only then they can show the right path. And they have to be very balanced, and that's what I'm doing.
You know, you're saying you have to be neutral, but Digvijay Singh of the Congress party has said that you are the plan C of the RSS, that plan A was Anna Hazare, plan B was Baba Ramdev. You are plan C of a well-orchestrated RSS program which is using anti-corruption simply as a political agenda. How do you react to that?
I don't want to comment on somebody else's comment. You know, people have right to air their opinions. It's up to them. If you ask them whether these opinions are correct, I say they are baseless, they are incorrect. That much I can say.
How is it being perceived, Sharad Pradhan? How is Sri Sri Ravi Shankar's yatra and his satsangs, how are they being perceived in Uttar Pradesh, in the highly politicized landscape of Uttar Pradesh? Is it seen as a kind of proxy anti-Congress movement, or is it simply seen as an apolitical campaign by a spiritual leader?
No, well, it is not seen as any kind of anti-Congress or anti-any other party. It is because Ravi Shankar has
but why has he avoided Amethi? Because Ravi Shankar has avoided Amethi. You know, where he has felt that in Rahul Gandhi's constituency he would be face hostility from workers.
That's the question I would like to ask. Yeah, there's no reason why he should have avoided Amethi. I'm sure he has done it under some kind of undue pressure, undue coercion from the Congress government, because, you know, as Bhatia rightly said, that, you know, these godmen are scared of tax problems, tax raids. For, you know, first of all, if Mr. Ravi Shankar is genuinely wanting to stop corruption, stamp out corruption from this soil, why doesn't he find out how many of his followers, how many of the people who donate lots of funds to him, what is the kind of wealth they've got? Isn't it ill-gotten wealth? If it is not, it's great. But if it is, which I'm sure a lot of people must be doing, there are a lot of people who earn the ill-gotten wealth is donated very lavishly to such godmen and their organizations. Unfortunately, in UP, you find, not only in UP, in many other states, that these people, corrupt politicians, corrupt bureaucrats, corrupt businessmen, they very conveniently pass on a lot of wealth to such spiritual or religious organizations, and they are very widely accepted. I fail to understand how does spirituality and they get along.
That's a good point. Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, why don't godmen and gurus clean up their own act? You know, you may be different, but there are numerous godmen and gurus across India who have all kinds of charges against them, where the donations are unaccounted for, there are no books maintained. Why don't those organizations clean up their own act? And do you believe that the Jan Lokpal bill is the way forward to tackle all these problems? Do you believe that by bringing in the Jan Lokpal bill, that is the only way in which the battle against corruption can be taken forward?
You know, we need a strong Lokpal bill. I wouldn't say Jan Lokpal bill is totally flawless. There may be many flaws, many items may need to be changed. The standing committee should sit and be serious in bringing about a very strong Lokpal bill. And do it quickly, you know, not take years and years. And as I said, I don't believe only a bill will eradicate corruption from the planet or from our country. No. Corruption begins where a sense of belongingness ends. And my job is to create a sense of belongingness. So I take the responsibility, and that can only happen through inner awakening, through spiritual awakening. And that is necessary. Adhyatma means that is, you know, expanding your sense of belongingness to everybody. Today, this morning I met Gram Panchayats from some nearly 1,000 villages. The Gram Panchayat heads have come. And you know, they're all looking for something, you know, some change. And that change can only come from inner transformation. When a person changes, the society changes. When the leaders change from within, and they have commitment for people, that compassion, love in them is kindled, then alone things can happen. This I am sure. So I am continuing in that work. And nobody can stop me on that.
So it's a spiritual awakening. Arun Bhatia, you want to respond to that? Spiritual awakening which can become a moral force against corruption. What's wrong with that?
Madam, nothing wrong with it, but this is the standard fallback argument of the godmen when you say, hey, you're doing nothing. Enforce the law, put your weight behind it, put PILs in court regarding Kalmadi, etc., etc. They say, no, we want spiritual awakening. That's the soft way out. It may take 5 years, it may take 500 years. I have nothing against it. Do that. But do the rest of it also. What simple people, small people like us, we keep putting PILs in court and failing. We keep complaining against government high-handedness and failing. I'm not saying Ravi Shankar do that. What is his track record? What has he done about governance? For that matter, what has he ever written about governance? What are his views on governance? Come on the street, fight, go to the courts. We want to see that. Lead us. We are behind you. But they will not do it because they are too scared.
They're too scared of the government.
Cowardly.
Shekhar Singh, why, for example, does Sri Sri Ravi Shankar not take out a yatra in Karnataka against the kind of politics that there is in Karnataka, where the chief minister has had to resign because of an indictment from the Lokayukta, the Santosh Hegde being a member of Team Anna himself. So why, for example, does he not take on the establishment in his home state? Is it convenient to go to UP? Is it convenient because UP is facing elections? Do you see fear there or political opportunism?
Well, you have to ask him this question of why he's not doing it in Karnataka. But I personally think that it's a little unfair to attribute motives of fear to people. After all, we can't blame people for what they're not doing. Let us judge them for what they're doing. Now, if Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji was the government, then I would agree with Mr. Bhatia that if being the government, he only focused on the spiritual, one could rightly say, look, spiritual is fine, but do something else. But Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji is a spiritual leader. And therefore, that is what he feels comfortable about. Now, some of us might not be very spiritually oriented, but certainly in a country like India, spirituality plays a very, very important role in people's lives. All I can say is that if he could just achieve an awakening of spirituality among the people, or among some people in Uttar Pradesh, in a manner such that they become less materialistic and therefore less prone to corruption, I think he's achieved something. I would personally request him try and do more, as I already said, and I agree that there are other things that can be done. But I wouldn't blame him for focusing on what he's focusing, especially if he does it in a non-partisan way. He doesn't explicitly go and say, well, vote for the BJP.
Let me get a quick response on that, and then we'll go to break. The fact is, millions of people come to these satsangs, many more than come to political rallies, and if he's using this spirituality vehicle to build awareness against graft, then as Shekhar Singh is saying, that's all to the good.
Yes, ma'am, no harm in spirituality, as I said. Let Ravi Shankar do that. But when you have political power, Ravi Shankar has political power, these godmen have political powers, because they do that, they, one chutki and 5 lakh people collect. That is political power. Please use it. Please use it. Please use this force honestly to fight corruption. Don't dissipate it by saying, you know, we'll take oaths to be clean. I'll take a yatra. How is that helping? So you are not really putting your power to honest use.
You're not putting your power to honest use.
You have political power, but you're still taking the easy way out.
Right, and I've just received an SMS from a viewer saying, why don't spiritual leaders take up the cause of female feticide, honor killings, dowry deaths, other social evils that bedevil India? Why is it that spiritual leaders seem to pick up only on politically high-profile causes? Why not the social reform causes, the social evils? Why don't they take up those as well? Let's take a short break and come back.
God is great.
मैं कहाँ हूँ?
बेटा कुछ याद करने की कोशिश करो.
याद आया, मैं थाईलैंड में ताता तैयार कर रहा हूँ, मैं मनाली में बर्फ खा रहा हूँ, रोम में धूम मचा रहा हूँ और केरला में रोमांस कर रहा हूँ. तो कौन है बे?
और कुछ याद रहे ना रहे, याद रहेंगे MakeMyTrip.com के साथ बिताए पल, क्योंकि जब हो अनोखे पैकेजेस, डील्स और एक्सपीरियंसेस, तो यादें तो बनती जाएंगी.
बेटा महेश, नाम याद आया?
Make My Trip.
In today's environment, where competition is non-stop and threats can appear out of nowhere, Accenture can help put your organization in shape to compete. So instead of merely surviving challenges, you can meet them head-on. Accenture Consulting Technology Outsourcing. High performance delivered.
So, what do I get with the Polo and the Vento? Oh, and what comes with the Breeze models?
Sir, I've told you this many times before, but for some reason you don't believe me.
You're still pulling my leg, aren't you?
Unbelievable, but true.
Sorry.
Get rupees 40,000 worth of benefits or features with the Polo and Vento or Breeze models.
So, what do I get with the Polo?
Volkswagen, das Auto. The 2012 Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards, recognizing school students who are making our world a better place to live in. Encourage them to apply for these awards and help them to win return trip to the US and cash prizes.
You have to watch it, but he's... really?
Hi, babes. Makes your heart burn? Cool it with Gelusil.
India Post presents flat rate parcel boxes. A quick, convenient and economical way to send your parcels in India and across the world. India Post flat rate parcels. Pick it, pack it, dispatch it. India Post.
Hey, pretty woman, won't you smile at me? Won't you...
Tired of wired? Eyeball wireless mouse. Eyeball.
मेरे देश में पैसा सिर्फ पैसा नहीं है, कभी प्यार के रंग रंगा है पैसा, विश्वास किसी का बना है पैसा, हो सपनों का पौधा है, रिश्तों की रंगोली है मेरे देश में।
ING वैश्य बैंक में हम समझते हैं पैसे से जुड़ी आपकी भावनाएं और आपकी जिंदगी में उसकी अहमियत को। ING वैश्य बैंक, रिटेल, होलसेल, प्राइवेट बैंकिंग।
With 16 years of excellence in education, Maharana Pratap Group of Institutions presents Pratap University, Jaipur, a blend of fine education.
Do you know who defeated the Mughals 17 times?
Assam. Yes, Assam.
Welcome to a whole new world, Assam. So much to see, so much to explore. You'll be glad you came.
This is TV 18 and you are watching CNN-IBN.
Sri Sri Ravi Shankar has started his Uttar Pradesh Yatra. We're asking, should spiritual leaders stay away from anti-corruption campaigns? Let's put it to Sharad Pradhan. What kind of impact do you see Sri Sri having in UP? I've just got an SMS from a viewer saying a state in which even Amitabh Bachchan could not make an electoral impact. What kind of impact will sadhus and sants and gurus and babas have? What do you see any kind of effect at all from Sri Sri's campaign?
No, well, as far as Ravi Shankar is concerned, as I said earlier, he has a very strong following, and I'm sure people would be impressed by him. But fact remains that is he actually, first of all, why is it that he has chosen this timing? For he is being, I don't disbelieve him that he is not politically oriented. Then what this timing gives reason to others, people like Digvijay Singh, gives them reason to accuse him of playing politics. So since he's into this kind of sermonizing, he's been doing it for years, he has such a strong following. Has he ever taken up this issue of corruption earlier? It is not as if corruption has come into this country yesterday. So what has he done to, and he could certainly make a difference. A spiritual leader can make a difference because he exercises a lot of influence on the minds and hearts of the people. He could go to schools and tell children that, okay, you know your parents are living beyond means. You tell your parents that if you are going to get money, ill-gotten wealth is coming into this house, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to wear expensive clothes. That can make a lot of difference. But he has not done any such thing in the past. Suddenly now out of the blue he comes, then he arouses more suspicion when he avoids Amethi. If he, people like Digvijay Singh are bound to make these accusations, but why should we be bothered? Unless there is some undue influence on him. Then Ravi Shankar certainly has the capability, has the resources to do a little more than just giving summons, which, as Ravi Bhatia rightly pointed out, that Arun Bhatia rightly pointed out, that you could have gone, as individuals, people have gone. I have personally gone into PILs. I have filed PILs against corrupt people, and then it is extremely important, I repeat, that he must know that the donations that he is getting into his kitty, where is it coming from? Is it money coming from kidnapping? Is it, there must be some such people. I'm not saying that everybody is like that.
But you make a good point
money
about the
coming
timing.
from crimes. He has to stop. What is the check that he has put?
What is the check that he's put into in his own organization? Shekhar Singh, let's put it to you.
I'm not accusing him.
You're not accusing him, but what are the steps he's taken? Shekhar Singh, just very quickly, the timing, the fact that the Art of Living Foundation was very, very involved in the India Against Corruption campaign against corruption. It was there in Ramlila ground when Anna Hazare was fasting. The cadres were present. They were very much there in full strength. Is it all very apolitical, or is there some kind of political alignment?
Well, I would speculate that given the timing, perhaps there is some effort at making an impact politically. But what is wrong with that? I mean, I'm not a supporter of the RSS. But does that mean that nobody has a right to support the RSS? I might disagree with them. I might think they're wrong, but so what?
Okay.
In a democratic process, people have a right to support.
Right. So if the RSS is orchestrating this campaign as Digvijay Singh says it is, and if Sri Sri is part of that, then what is wrong? They have all the right as participants in democracy. Arun Bhatia, did you want to respond to that this is part of the democratic process? Everyone has a right to jump in and get involved.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, we want people like Ravi Shankar to come in the open, show some guts, sponsor good candidates, get them into our legislatures, get them into our parliament. That's a strong instrument of reform. Come and fight the election, give election speeches, select good candidates, get into the act. What is this behind the scene lecture, dena, spiritual upliftment? You do all that, but what about the real stuff? How about doing that? There are other people who are suffering and trying to do it, and this guy is giving speeches.
That's another very good point. Why does Sri Sri Ravi Shankar simply not join politics? Take the political plunge and join politics, form a political party, and openly come out and cleanse politics. As Jayaprakash Narayan, one of our eminent panelists, has often said, the way to get good politics is by entering politics and countering bad politics. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, Sharad Pradhan, Shekhar Singh, Arun Bhatia. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Should godmen participate in anti-graft campaigns? What are you telling us there? 61 are there saying no, in fact. Thanks for watching.